my darlings, I'm Sophie Darling, and welcome back to the channel. Today we are reacting to episode 16 of Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood, and I have a feeling this episode is going to be really emotional because it left off in the last episode of them going back to thank Hughes and his family, and they don't know. No one's told them that Hughes is dead, and Winry's coming along with them because she wanted to go and visit and say thanks for everything that they'd done. And yeah, I have a feeling this is going to be a rough one just because they have to come to terms with the loss of someone that's basically treated them like they were his kids. He's looked after all of them. He's put up with so much nonsense as well, and also encouraged the nonsense, but it's just the way in which he was so protective of them all because he recognized that they were kids. He understood that they were experiencing something that is far beyond their years, that they shouldn't have to involve themselves in because they're not adults, they're children. And I think because he has a child, he's better able to recognize that more than other characters because they don't have kids. He does. So he kind of sees his daughter in all of them. And it's why he's so willing to help them. He's so willing to like invite them for dinner and let them stay at his house because it's his way of looking after these kids because no one else seems to be looking after them but Armstrong. Armstrong is looking after these kids as best he can. And Granny. Granny would keep them if she could, but they don't want to stay. She doesn't really have much of a choice, does she? But yeah, this is going to be not a fun episode. It's going to be heart-wrenching. And we also met two envoys from the east. So we have been introduced to a larger country who are searching for the Philosopher's Stone so that they can create immortality. We have May and we also have Ling. So Ed has met one, but not the other, and Ling is deciding that he wants to go to Central with them. I don't know what role this man's going to play going forward, but he is very amusing, and his two bodyguards are also pretty badass. The girl clearly has a lot of affection for Ling. I think she must like him because every time he's insulted, she gets really angry and defensive and starts to act in ways that aren't necessarily rational. But my favorite character is the panda. The panda is my favorite character so far. At first, I thought the panda wasn't real. I thought it was like a stuffed toy when she said, oh, we went through the desert. And it was like, oh, you're in the stuffed toy? But no, it's fully real. But it's iconic. I can't wait to see her dynamic with Scar. I think he's going to soften quite a bit when dealing with May. I'm not sure. I feel like he puts on this big gruff demeanor, but she could bring out like this softer, sweeter, almost like fatherly instinct in him that he's been trying to like push aside. Maybe not so much fatherly instinct, but maybe like big brother instinct. I just think they're setting off like this clash dynamic between them, but he could then come to really care for her and maybe want to look after her and protect her because she's so little and sweet and so young to be crossing the desert by herself. Watch the show turn around and be like, she's 50 years old. But she looks like a small child instead of her actually being a small child. I think she is just meant to be a small child, but it'd be kind of funny if the show was like, haha, fooled you all, she's 50. But without further ado, we're going to get into episode 16, and I'm not prepared to cry. I really don't want to cry, but I have a feeling I might. I don't know, you're supposed to be watching him, are you not? He's like, thank God they're gone. I don't want to deal with him. Has he been kidnapped? Or like, has he just straight up decided to do a runner? What are you up to? Oh, that's why he's being a bit off. Like, he knows there's something not right. He's entertaining Barry. I love that Barry's just become one of the group now.
いいわけねえだろう。
No, Barry.
ホークアイの姉さん連れてきてくれよ。
He fancies her.
私はいつまでこいつの見張りを続けなきゃなんないんですかね。大佐はなんと
Indefinitely.
こんな危険な任務に付き合わせてしまってすまない。
I'd be pretty scared at having to look after Barry. He's a mass murderer.
もう少し先行きの明るい
God damn it,
話は
Roy.
ある
So
ぜ。
harsh.
なんです俺に彼女ができたよ
Already?
少しでいろいろ困ってた時に優しくしてくれてさ。
He just dumped his last girlfriend. Damn. That moves fast. Barry, please. Can I cut her? No, Barry. Shut up.
ところで入国証は。はい、どいたどいた。
不法入国者のお通りだよ。
若。
You're in trouble. No entry permit.
絶対行き倒れてる。
I mean, he did collapse. It's becoming a routine habit.
じゃあ先にヒューズさん家に
Oh
挨拶に
no.
行ってようかな。グレイシアさんとエリシアちゃんに早く会いたいし。
Are they still gonna be there? Did they maybe leave? Maybe they went to be with family elsewhere. What if she goes and they're not there?
あれから賢者の石の情報集めしてくれてるかな。
大総統に釘を刺されてるしな。まずは俺たちが知り得た情報を伝えよう。
They don't know, but we know. Don't give him anything that he doesn't need to know. It's what he wants you to do. Oh, it's where he died and they don't even know.
いいわよ。必要な書類を取るだけだから。本当に無理です。至急片付けますので少々お待ちを。
Is she protecting
後で取り
something?
に来るから、それまでにお願いね。
She was working for Hughes. I feel like maybe she's guarding information related to Hughes that like he was investigating before he died, or she's trying to figure out what Hughes found out.
大佐、マスタング大佐。
No, Roy's there. She's hiding Roy.
私は何分くらい寝ていた。
10分くらいかと。
They can't have anyone knowing that Roy is looking at the same information that Hughes was looking at before he died. He's trying to find out stuff, isn't he? Related to Hughes's death.
今のマスタング大佐
No? Fucker.
おはようシェスカ
What a last
と
name.
ころでなんで大佐がここに
None of your business.
その、
書庫も空いているし黙っておいてあげるよ
Oh, he's gonna think they were
に
like.
しても大佐は何を調べていたんだ
Oh, wait. I thought he was insinuating that they were like
私も
doing
詳しくは
something they
知ら
shouldn't
な
be
い
in
ん
the
ですけど、
storeroom.
第五研究所に関する資料はないかと聞かれました。それと、ヒューズ准将の事件。
よろしく頼むよ
はい。
He kind of raised his eyebrow in relation to the fifth laboratory. Either it confirms something he's suspicious of. Envy, you little fuck. Oh no, Roy's gonna become a target now. He probably already was a target, but even more so because King King is gonna know that Roy's looking into him. Well, not specifically him, but what he's involved in.
かもしれん。怪我をしたのか。
南で少しありまして。
He's
何かすり傷です
is he gonna tell Roy? Armstrong, come on, you can trust Roy.
ヒューズの死は知らせたのか。
No, he didn't.
言い出せませんでした。
いつかは知れることだぞ。
分かっております。
They're back in Central.
第五研究所と賢者の石。石の材料は生きた人間。
うん。
エルリック兄弟が調べていたことに首を突っ込んで、知らなくてもいいことを知ってしまった。
He paid for it with his life.
自分たちに関わりを持ったせいで、ヒューズが死んだと知れば、兄弟が傷つく。
よくお調べに。
もう一息だ。
I feel like Roy's gonna be the one to potentially tell them, isn't he?
どこで誰が聞いているかもわかりませんので。
he suspects that not everything is as it seems. Armstrong, I love you. I'd die for Armstrong. I'd die for Al, but I'd also die for Armstrong. But I don't think I'd need to. I think Armstrong would die for me.
あとヒューズ中佐に挨拶しとこうと思ったんだ。
Oh
中佐元気？
no. Oh, they're gonna have to tell him.
田舎に引っ込んだ。夫人と子供を連れて
Oh,
家業を継ぐそうだ。だからいない。
he doesn't want to upset them. I'm gonna cry.
なんだろう。
会いたかったね。
He knows that it'll crush them if they know that Hughes died because of what they were looking
先走っ
into.
て無茶なことはするなよ。
おう。
Oh, Roy. He's doing what Hughes would do, shielding them from the harsh reality. Because they're just kids and he knows that deep down. Yeah.
今は知る必要がない。あの兄弟にとって前進するのに邪魔なものはなるべく少ない方がいい。
Oh, Roy.
私もアームストロング少佐のことをお人よしとは言ってられんな。
They were so excited as
お
well.
人よしで済む話でしょうか。残酷です。
It's cruel because it's delaying the inevitable, but did they really need to know right this moment? I don't know if it's better for Roy to have told them or then potentially find out
久しぶりね、
themselves
二人とも。どうしたの？
from like
慌てて
either someone
ヒュー
else
ズ
or
中佐
going
の
to the
ことを聞いて
house.
さ。
Oh no.
そう。辛いわね。
They're gonna find out from other
話したいことはいっぱい
people.
あったのに。
お別れくらいしたかったね。
大丈夫よ。きちっと軍でお見送りしたわ。あと、聞いたかもしれないけど、2階級特進されて、中佐ではなく。
But they're gonna be like, we were just told he was retired.
田舎に引っ込んだのに昇進？
Yeah. Oh, they're gonna find out. They know that they've been lied to now and they're gonna feel really angry about it.
少尉。
I get what Roy was doing, but I can also understand that it's cruel that they find out from somebody else accidentally. I'm gonna cry, aren't I?
なんで中佐が？どうして？
ヒューズ准将は、エドワード君が退院してすぐ、何者かに殺害されたの。
俺のせいだ。俺が巻き込んだ。
No.
中佐。
He's not gonna be able to live with the guilt, is he? He's gonna beat himself up like he did with Al. Well, not did, still does.
セントラルに寄ることがあったら声かけろや。アルフォンスは鎧着たままだと食えないやな。君たち、どうせ宿決まってないんだろ。だったらうちに来いよ。
I guess the question comes into it, is it better to treat them like adults and tell them the truth or allow them to have innocence and naivety for a little longer? But then they found out from someone else and that made it 10 times worse. Oh, Alicia! I'm gonna cry. I'm gonna lose it. Every time the door knocks, she probably thinks it's her dad.
お前は帰れ。咎められるのは俺一人で十分。
They're not gonna blame him though.
兄さん一人の問題じゃない。
Gracie's not gonna blame him.
だから僕も行く。どんなことがあっても元の体に戻るって決めたけど、そのせいで死んでしまう人がいるなら
Then they'd sacrifice that. Oh,
グレイシャさんに話しておかなければならないことがあるんですが、いいですか？
私に？
はい。
he's gonna say it's his fault.
主人はその賢者の石に関して何かを知ってしまった。主人の死はこれ以上首を突っ込むなという犯人側の警告ね。
Yeah.
すみません。すみません。
人助けをしようとして死んだとしたらあの人らしいわ。昔っからおせっかいの世話焼きで。
Because he cared about people, he wanted to help them.
でも後悔したことは一度もないと思う。諦めるとか言わないでね。ここであなたたちが諦めたら主人の死は
You
全く
gotta give
無駄
his
になりま
death
す。
meaning. You have to push forward. What a brave woman.
他の方法があるかもしれないでしょ。
The fact that she can see the value in her husband's sacrifice is
自分たちが納得する方法
phenomenal.
で前へ進みなさい。
She doesn't blame them. She thinks, if anything, it was noble of her husband to die helping someone. Oh. She was holding it together so well so that they wouldn't be upset. Because again, she recognizes that they're kids. I'm trying to hold it together and it's not working.
アップルパイ。
あれから何度か練習したの。自分で言うのもなんだけど、うまくなったのよ。ヒューズさんにも食べてもらいたかった。
I'm gonna lose it. I can't. I'm trying so hard not to cry.
大佐がヒューズのことを嗅ぎ回ってるって。
うん。
何か掴んだのかしらね。監視するなら目の届くところにと思ってセントラルに移した
I
けど。
bet Gluttony's like, can I eat
お
it?
となしくしてくれないかしらね。大事な人柱候補なんだから。
彼氏からは何も聞き出せてないの？
全然。天然なのかやり手なのか。また情報収集してみるわ。行くわよ、グラトニー。
Oh! Her boyfriend is the smoking guy!
炎の大佐がおとなしくしてればいいんだよね。
What the fuck?
ええ。
もう一つ手を打っとく気ない？
何かあるの？
うるさい犬には餌を与えてあげなくちゃ。
What are you playing at?
一緒に来てもらおう。
説明していただけますか？
マース・ヒューズ殺害事件の重要参考人として君の名が挙がっている。来たまえ。
They're trying to like use her
少尉本人は犯行を否認しておりま
as
す。
like a scapegoat.
このものに関する資料を集めろ。
They're trying to
だが、
divert his attention elsewhere, throw him off the scent by giving him a bone.
あらま、デートかいこの色男。
In comes lust.
待ったかい、ソラリス。
いいえ、今来たところ。会いたかったわ、じゃあ。また面白い話を聞かせてね。
No, stop talking to her. Stop giving her information. Fuck's sake. Oh! So they're giving him a bone to divert his attention away from what's going on because they need him to be an important sacrifice for whatever they intend. Fuck. They are wily, aren't they? They're so crafty. I'm so glad that I held it together. I genuinely was going to lose it. It's the fact that every time Alicia hears the door, she thinks it's her dad. And all Winry wanted to do was to make the apple pie and let him have a taste because she got given the recipe and she's been practicing and she's put her all into it, and she didn't even get the chance to share that with him, having to confront this idea that, you know, if other people are going to die in their pursuit, get their bodies back, then they don't want to go ahead. They're willing to make the ultimate sacrifice of staying as they are if it means protecting those that are close to them and that they care about. And it's such a big move for them to make. But as Gracie says, if they don't push forward, it does a disservice to Hugh's death. They have to move on as best as they can, because in learning the information to get their bodies back, they're also learning who it was that killed Hughes, and then they can avenge Hughes. They can bring that person to justice and allow Hughes to rest in peace, knowing that he died for something. He gave himself for a greater, nobler cause. And as his wife says, it's like him to die trying to help someone, because that's all he's ever done, is be helpful, is want to support those around him. He gave Sheksa a job when she needed one. He gave the Elric brothers a place to stay. He gave Winry a place to stay. He fed all of them and was concerned when Al wasn't eating because he was worried that he wasn't taking care of himself. He saw them off. He was trying to find information that would help them in their journey to getting their bodies back because he genuinely did care. And to not pursue the knowledge that Hughes died for is a disservice to him, and it would dishonor his memory. The fact that she tried so hard to hold it together for them because she sees them as no different to her daughter. They're just kids. She doesn't want them to be upset. She doesn't want them to blame themselves. So she's holding it all in despite the fact that she is hurting. She's mourning for her husband and she's having to raise their daughter by herself. Her idea of a family has fallen apart and it was ripped away from her so cruelly as well. All he was doing was his duty, trying to help the people he cares about, and he was torn away from those that he loves. I knew this was going to be a heart-wrenching episode. As soon as it was mentioned that they were going to go back and see Hughes, and Winry was like, I want to come too. I was like, oh no, I was like, this is going to be awful. They're going to subject me to the pain of this episode. But it also does a great job of showing what it means to mature in a way, because you're kind of forced to question, was it good for Roy to lie to them and treat them like children, or was it cruel? Because they then found out from somebody else and they feel as if they now can't trust Roy because he wasn't willing to tell them the truth. It kind of comes down to the question of, is it better to be told the harsh truth and to be aware of reality, or to be coddled and never know the truth? Or is it a mixture of both? I can see where Roy is coming from, but the more I think about it, the more I do understand that it is cruel and that he should have told them. He should have been the one to make them aware that Hughes had died and been a reassuring shoulder for them to cry on, to express their emotions. Instead, they learned from somebody else. They feel as if almost they can't be trusted because they're being treated like children, despite the fact that they are undertaking roles and responsibilities associated with adults. It's going to be interesting if that frustration comes up again, if they bring it up with Roy that you're treating us like children and you've never treated us like children before. But I think it's different. It's hard for Roy. That was his best friend. That was somebody that had his back, and he lost him and he's desperate to find out what happened to him. So I think in a way, part of it is his own desire to not want to have to tell them what happened, because he also doesn't really want to go over it again. He doesn't want to relive the trauma of it. But he also doesn't want the boys to be upset and to be demoralized. And that's what happened. They feel demoralized. But I think speaking to Gracie's helped. I think they're still going to be wrestling with that guilt, in that sense of it's our fault and everyone we love and care for dies because of us and we don't want that to happen. So they're going to start trying to isolate themselves, which isn't beneficial. But I can also empathize that they want to protect the people around them and they don't want any more to die because of them. They can't live with that guilt. But I also can see the perspective of it being cruel, because you're not treating them like they deserve to be treated. They deserve to know the truth. They deserve to be told that truth and come to terms with what it means and be treated with respect, and leaving them to find out that information from an unknowing third party is cruel. It is sad. They should have had someone they know tell them that. Of course, they do know Maria, but not to the same extent of knowing Roy and knowing Armstrong. So one of them should have been the ones to tell the boys that Hughes had died before they ended up finding out from Maria. But I can also understand this desire to shield them. They've seen so much. They've gone through so much. How can you bring yourself to be the one to inflict further pain on these teenage boys? Like, they're 15 and 14, and the idea of having to be that one to inflict that pain must be incredibly difficult to wrestle with, because you want them to stay motivated. You don't want them to become so demoralized that they stop looking for the answers to restore their bodies. But at the same time, how do you inflict even further pain on them after everything they've already gone through, after the loss of their mom, after feeling abandoned by their dad, after seeing and witnessing so much death and destruction, you're now going to sit and tell them, yeah, Hughes died, and he died because he was trying to find out information in relation to the Philosopher's Stone to be able to help you, and he found out something, and he's been killed as a warning for you all to stick your noses out of it and stop pursuing this information, because if you continue, this is what's going to happen. Thematically, it's really interesting because they are not adults, but they're also not children. They're on the cusp of this in-between space of neither being mature enough to be an adult, but not childish enough to be a child. There's sort of this level of trying to be seen as mature and wanting to be treated as adults, but still having people around them seeing them as children and not trusting them with this information. So it's almost going to cause a sense of bittersweetness in them, that they are tasked with doing these adult responsibilities, but at the same time not tasked with the truth of knowing how Hughes died and feeling as if they're not being treated like the adults that the military expects them to be when they're performing their duties as state alchemists, but at the same time, they're expected to believe this idea that he's retired and for no one to tell them the truth. I can see this becoming a sore point between them and Roy at some point of, you expect us to behave like adults and you trust us to go on these missions, but at the same time, you don't trust us with this. It's interesting how it gets across that difficulty of being a teenager. You're not mature enough to be seen as an adult by the adults around you, but you're also not young enough to see yourself as a child anymore. You want to be seen as an adult. You want to be able to handle mature topics, but the people who are older than you in your life don't think you're ready or equipped to handle it. Either way, gut-wrenching episode. Absolutely gut-wrenching. If you enjoyed this react, please consider liking, subscribing, and leaving a comment below to help boost this video into the algorithm. And until next episode, bye!